Jai Hind, everyone. I must admit that I am under immense pressure today because two great speakers have already spoken. Who's Who of Bangalore is here, and over and above, my wife is also here to listen to me. And today, for the first time, for 40 minutes, I'll speak and she will listen to me. So, let's talk about adventure. I think I don't have any stats with me. I just have my story with me. How I started, how I climbed the mountains. And the first slide, only one promise I can say that you will not sleep in this presentation. That is my promise to you. It is hair raising. So let's start. And that's the story of resilience, challenges, and patriotism. I started my mountaineering journey in 2002 from a school called High Altitude Warfare School in Gulmarg. And as I always say, I am here because of Indian Army. Because I joined as a soldier, got commissioned as an officer, and then got trained by Army as a mountaineer. My first major expedition after the courses I have done in 2002-03, few treks, few 6,000 meter mountains, was Mount Mana. That was my first major expedition. Why I say so? Because I was leading the team of 15 members. And it is one of the technical mountains in our country, which is close to India-China border, and around 23,000 feet is its height. We stuck in a blizzard after we coming back from the summit attempt. We were out for 17 hours, and we were all frostbitten. My first major expedition, frostbitten. Two of us lost our limbs. I lost one of a finger. That was the starting point of mountaineering. But did I just stop there? No. Those 6 months when I was down, we call it low medical category, wherein you are excused PT and other things, physical things. I started preparing for the events after 6 months. I started preparing myself mentally, as well as what I'm going to do after 6 months. I started dreaming of climbing the 7 summits. You require an immense effort. I was not knowing from where I'm going to get the funds. How will I do it? But I started dreaming of it. I made notes of it. And once in February 2010, I was declared fit enough to go to mountains again, or rather do my regular duties. I started back mountaineering in 2010 doing back-to-back 3 major expeditions, 2 in India and 1 in Africa. Then I got a chance, 2011 also, we did back-to-back 2 expeditions, and then I was selected for the selection camp of Mount Everest, got selected, and 2012 I did my first Everest summit. We went through tough times here also. Few avalanches. 18th May we were supposed to summit. There was a blizzard on South Col, which is also called the death zone. 18th May, around 10 people decided to go up in spite of the blizzard. We decided not to go up, stay put at South Col, and next morning we were coming back, and then we came to know that 10 people who went up, out of 10, 6 are missing. And 4 who came back, they were rescued by helicopters. They had cold injuries and they lost their limbs later. And those 6 people who were missing, they were declared dead later on. 2013, I summited South America's highest, that is Mount Aconcagua. I promised myself in 2009, when I lost a finger, that come what may, I will climb at least 1 mountain in a year. That was my promise to myself. Because sometimes it happens when you are pushed to the wall, you actually work harder to prove yourself. In 2013, I got another chance to lead the Indo-Nepalese Everest expedition, celebrating the 60 years of Everest summit. And I led the Indo-Nepalese team, putting 22 members on top. And we not only summited Mount Everest, we also cleared the non-biodegradable garbage, around 4,000 kgs from there, and we got it done. In 2015, there was another event and I was told that you will lead this expedition. We went up, we reached the Everest base camp, but then destiny had other plans.
Breaking news coming in, a severe earthquake has hit Nepal.
It's the worst quake to hit the eastern Himalayas in 80 years.
A magnitude 7.9 killer that struck 83 kilometers northwest of Kathmandu.
And far away from Kathmandu is the expedition Everest base camp, right in the middle of busy climbing season.
Quake triggered a massive avalanche at Mount Everest.
It was a shallow quake and its impact was huge.
We were shattered. Within minutes, there were 18 deaths and more than 80 injured. If you remember, in 2015, there was a huge earthquake which had shattered Nepal. And this was during that time it happened at Everest Base Camp.
Are you alright? I'm okay.
It's emotions. जब ऊपर जब एक्चुअली मर रहे थे तब सोचने में वक्त भी लगा और इधर अभी बेस कैंप में आके ये देख के लगता है कि मैंने किसने बचा दिया.
Okay, I'll just tell this story what happened here. We were also one of the teams. Team started moving down. Everybody started moving down, saying that this is crazy and this has never happened before. There are a lot of people who started telling that the whole Khumbu glacier is going to come down, and there is a prediction that everything at Everest Base Camp is going to get washed away. We got saved luckily. Now there were 2 things for us, either to go move down as everybody else was doing, but we decided the other way. We decided to stay put there. There were 2 main reasons for it. Number 1, our whole team was safe. Apart from few injuries, we were safe. Number 2, the 3 big tents which we had, one had ration, one had medicines, and one had spare tents with us. They were safe. Though the tents were broken, but they could not be washed away by the wind because they were too heavy. So there was a signal of some sort that we can help. I got the team together. I just told them that there's a signal that we should stay here, and this is the time for us to prove to the world what Indians or what Indian Army can do. We stayed put there and help people, help the injured ones, giving them medication. We had the doctor with us. And anybody who required any sort of help, whether it was food, medication or tentage, we provided them. Till that point of time, I can tell you that the typical feedback of Asian climbers were that we look for cheap climbing teams, cheap logistic teams. We are just bothered about a summit, and we are not bothered about cleanings. We are not bothered about the quality or ethics. But this was a time when there's one Indian team stayed there, helped everyone. And next video is about a gentleman who was at the Everest base camp to complete his movie Everest, which you would have seen in 2015. He produced that movie, rather co-produced that movie. He had gone to Everest base camp 32 times and he had summited Everest more than 5 times. Just listen to him, what he has to say.
Indian Army team spent the entire day out there. It's quite hot. It's difficult work in the middle of the day. And retrieved most of the debris that was blown out there and brought it back and placed it beneath camps. Some of our gear was placed down here, and it was all brought in so that we could go in and claim something that belonged to our team. And again, this was a magnificent effort, showing great responsibility and leadership by the Indian Army team that was needed here. We weren't going back up the mountain, but we needed leadership, and they showed the way. We really were lacking in any form of leadership. Well, I'm just going to end by saying I've been coming here for 32 years, and I've seen almost every imaginable catastrophe here, but this one was just one you couldn't even dream of in your wildest imagination. But to have the Indian Army team and Major Jami adjacent to our camp and next to us to meet with, to dine with, to plan with, that was something that is one of the best things I've ever seen on Mount Everest.
Thank you. Thank you. So in 2016, we went back again to complete our mission, and I, along with my team, we summited Everest for the 3rd time. That promise which I kept to myself in 2009, that come what may, I will climb at least one mountain in a year, and which I planned in 2009, 7 summits. 2017, we went to Mount Denali and climbed that mountain. In 2019, that was my last mountain of the 7 summits. I climbed Antarctica's highest, that was Vinson Massif. Now there's a story behind this. I kept waiting for some sort of support in 2018 after 17, because Antarctica's expedition costs you around 42 lakhs. And no support, I would say. I'm not cribbing about it, because something which this was my dream, and I can't hold anybody else responsible for it. I decided to take my personal loans and then went for this expedition. I summited the mountain, but I was not happy. Happy as typical Indian, because I had spent 40 lakhs for just 10 days of mountaineering. And that I could not digest that for 10 days of mountaineering, I have spent 40 lakhs. And I had 12 days pay with me after the summit was done. What did I do? I came back My other climbing mates who were there, they were lucky and they were happy that they have got 12 days. They will explore the Atacama region and they will go Patagonia and do the treks and move around Chile and Argentina. I was worried that what I'm going to do for next 12 days, how will I justify these 40 lakhs? I spoke to one of my friends in Chile, and there is a region, Copiapo, where you have a lot of 6,000ers. And there is a mountain which is the highest volcanic mountain in the world there, Ojos del Salado. So I requested him, please guide me to these mountains because I've never been to that area. Me and Mario, we became a team. And next 10 days, we climbed 6 mountains of 20,000 feet and above and made a new record. That was just because I needed to tell myself that I have done something of those 40 lakhs. Because in the end, when we completed our 6th mountain, Mario said, please, let this be the last mountain now. And I told him, still one day left. And he told him, now at least enjoy for one more day. You have already done enough. You have climbed the highest volcanic. And in this process, I had already done Tres Cruces mountain. Why it is important to us? Because the first 7th summiter of India, Malli Mastan Babu, he died while climbing this mountain. So I paid a homage to him by being the first Indian to climb that mountain. So it was a good journey climbing 6,000ers and completing the 7 summits. Let me tell you, I was not very happy about Antarctica, but I was happy that I was able to do 6,000 mountains. I got posted to NIMAS, National Institute of Mountaineering and Adventure Sports. I'll take just 1 minute to tell you about NIMAS, what NIMAS is. We talk about a lot of universities in our country imparting education. This is the only outdoor university which is imparting outdoor education. There are 3 verticals of adventure: aero vertical, land vertical and aqua vertical. In aero vertical, we train the youth of the country. Anybody between 16 to 40 years can come and train with us. Above 40 till 50, as a director, I have the leeway to see the fitness and then give the permission. But we can train on that also. Paramotor, paragliding in aero, scuba diving, whitewater rafting, kayaking in aqua activities, and mountaineering, mountain terrain biking, and sport climbing in land vertical. This is what we train in NIMAS, and we have nodes across all 7 northeastern states of our country. Ideas, there were immense. First thing which I did when I entered was, we did cycling across all 7 northeastern states, and we climbed the highest mountain of all 7 northeastern states by becoming the first ever team to do so. So this year was Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We also took advantage of it. I remember once he was flagging in the expedition and Honorable CM Arunachal told, what's your next plan? I told him, sir, if he can put in word to the Honorable Raksha Mantri, we would like to go for the journey of 6 nations, Southeast Asian nations, where Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav we can celebrate by touching all those points where Azad Hind Fauj was somehow, somewhere they had the connections. We wanted to move across Myanmar, but we couldn't get the permission. You know all what is happening in Myanmar till now. But we went to Vietnam. Just a word about Vietnam. Why we went to Vietnam? Because Ho Chi Minh was the first meeting of Subhash Chandra Bose ji, Netaji, where he held with Indian counterparts there to plan strategy for Azad Hind Fauj. So we landed there and we started our cycling from there, and we cycled for 37 days. We started from Ho Chi Minh and we culminated our journey at Azad Hind Fauj Memorial in Singapore, covering 6 nations and covering 5,374 kilometers. Three Everest summits, 7 continents, Northeast cycling, 7 nations cycling. And then when I was asked, what is the next you have in mind? I told, sir, if you permit me, everybody is celebrating Har Shekhar Tiranga. We want to celebrate in our typical adventure way, Har Shekhar Tiranga. So we named this. And when he asked, what is this Har Shekhar Tiranga? I told him, sir, we go outside to Africa, to Australia, to South America to climb the mountains. We have mountains in our own backyard. We will promote them. You allow us to go around. Last year, it took us 351 days. We traveled 30,000 kilometers and we climbed the highest mountain oblique point of all 28 states of our country. We named it Mission Har Shekhar Tiranga, एक मुहिम मातृभूमि के लिए. You will hear a lot of people talking about Kilimanjaro, a lot of people talking about Aconcagua. Obviously, recently Sharath has climbed it. Immense, obviously, difficult mountains. But we have more technically challenging mountains in our own backyard, especially the Himalayan states. I remember I was in Maharashtra attending a program and somebody asked me, sir, what's the next state? I told him, we are going to Goa now. And he said, sir, Goa mein bhi pahad hai kya? And I told him, yes, the mountain is there. And let me tell you, I must admit it, out of 18 plain states we climbed, the Goa's Sosogad, which is the highest point there, it was the most difficult one. Because we had to trek for 14 kilometers in reserve forest. And there was no track there. The last local who had been to that top was 14 years back. He was happy that somebody had come to climb this point and he was happy to guide us there, and we were lucky to reach that point. When we completed it, actually we realized the essence of it. How we completed it, we never knew about it. There was immense support from every corner. More than 1,000 youth directly participated in their own states, and more than 10,000 people indirectly supporting us in many ways. Somebody catering for an expedition, accommodation, somebody catering for the permissions required in particular state. They helped us in that. As I told, 30,000 kilometers, 28 states, 28 highest points, one mission, that was to connect India. This is just a small video what we did there. this was Har Shekhar Tiranga. So now the highest mountain of the world, 3 times, highest peaks of all continents, and the new addition is highest peak of all Indian states. 20 years to achieve these milestones, around 15 near-death experiences. Major ones are this. Mana Peak, lost a finger. 2012, near-death experience in a crevasse. 13, Sherpa was moving ahead of me and suddenly, within seconds, he was nowhere. And when I saw in a crevasse, he was already 100 meter deep. And we couldn't take him out. That's how things happened there. 16, got caught in a blizzard again, lucky to survive. 2017, went into a crevasse, saved. You saw me going down there in Mount Denali. I gave the video camera to one of my friends to take my video, and suddenly there was a crevasse below. He didn't know about it. He just videographed that whole incident. And literally I had to tell him, I'm not imitating anything. This is a real crevasse. Keep the phone aside and please pull me up. That's how I got saved. 2023, in Har Shekhar Tiranga, Sikkim was the last state we were doing in month of September. 2nd of October, we summited that mountain and completed our Har Shekhar Tiranga journey. We were happy. 3rd October, we were down to the roadhead camp where we had ITBP camp. Suddenly in the night at around 8 o'clock, I hear a sound of like helicopter moving up. I came out and suddenly there were teammates who were shouting at me कि साहब बांध जो है, लेक जो है वो फट चुकी है, प्लीज़ यहाँ से भागो, नदी उफान पे है. And the moment I stepped out of my hut and I looked back, the hut was not there. It got washed away. This was Sikkim floods. If you have heard the news last year in October, lot of damage that floods did. We were the first ones to get hit by that. Luckily, all survived. Few of the items definitely got washed away, but we all survived. To tell our story here, and this is today, there is somebody almighty sitting up who can save us. And as I always say, a lot of people ask me कि सर आपको डर नहीं लगता? डर बहुत लगता है. हर बार भगवान से बोलते हैं बस भगवान इस बार बचा ले, अगली बार नहीं आऊँगा. तीन महीने बाद बीवी की डांट सुन के बोर हो जाते हैं. Then again I go back to mountains again. And then she always asks me कि आप पहाड़ पे अगली बार कब जा रहे हो? कि यहाँ पे आपने मुझे तंग कर दिया है अभी. So that's how I go. Jokes apart, she is a great support. And I started my mountaineering journey after I got married. Not because I was fed up, but when I lost my finger in 2009 and I asked her that I want to continue mountaineering. Though everybody else except wife, my parents also, my course mates also, my seniors also, that enjoy your life. You become an officer, you're doing good, just do whatever you're doing. You've already lost a finger. Mountains are not for you. When I asked her, I really want to continue this. Will you allow me? She said, if you really want to do it, I'm with you. And she's here with me listening to the story today. Mountaineering wisdom. Lot of lessons mountaineering has taught us. When I say us, it is obviously my wife also part of it. The first thing is faith. As we always say, faith can move mountains. Faith actually can move mountains. That's my story. We always believe that there is somebody sitting above who will not let anything bad happen to you. Yes, I've lost a finger. I have rod in this hand. I have half of my patella broken, but still, the motivation is strong. Be humble, the humility, be kind. That is the first and foremost quality which mountain teaches us. And हिंदी में जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि पहाड़ हमें झुक के चलना सिखाता है, हम ऊपर देख के पहाड़ों को नहीं चढ़ सकते. That is what the first and foremost thing mountain teaches us. Train hard and plan well. When you have a good team, when you have planned for contingencies, you will take it that 80% success is yours. 20% luck factor will matter. In 2015, when the earthquake struck Nepal and Everest base camp, we were the only team out of more than 32 teams and 500 climbers at base camp who had stretcher with us. And people were asking, were you aware that something is going to happen like this? And I told them, no, this is what army teaches us. Army teaches us to plan for contingencies if this thing happen. And we were the only one who had planned for the contingencies. And that's why we were alive and we could help people there. Embrace the unpredictable. As I said, anything can happen. But if you have a well-trained team with you, you can actually get success. Build a cohesive team. It is a team effort. If you have the team who shares the same zeal and passion as you, you are bound to get the success. Be consistent. Come what may. Failures will happen. I have done around 70 expeditions so far. More than 10-12 expeditions, I couldn't summit. We couldn't go up. We turned back. We knew that this is not our time. We'll come back and climb the mountain again. But that doesn't mean that we will stop doing it, what we are good at. We kept doing it. Be consistent. That's what life is all about. Even if you get failures, be consistent, work hard, and definitely you will get the success. Enjoy the journey. Definitely a lot of bad things happen. As I told you, हमेशा भगवान को बोलते हैं बस इस बार बचा लो, अगली बार नहीं आऊँगा. But we enjoy the journey when we go back again to the mountains. Learn from others. I will never say that I know everything in mountains. I will never say that. There are other people who have some good qualities which I can always learn from them. Take the best of the people whom you have around, learn, and then succeed. Persistence pays off. When somebody asked me in 2013 कि यार एवरेस्ट भी कर लिए तुम लोग ने 2 बार, you have got the Arjun award now, why you are doing this? And I told him, sir, I am just keeping my promise, what I have done to myself. I did not do it for Arjun award. I did not do it for the second Everest. I am just promised myself and I am actually keeping that promise. Persistence. Because of that, it's been 70 years, 70 expeditions now, more than 20 years, and I'm just keeping that promise. Thank you. I'm always asked, how is the Everest from the top? मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ बहुत ठंड लगती है, हवा बहुत चलती है, आपका ये मन करता है कि जल्दी से फोटो खिंचवाओ और जल्दी नीचे भागो. And when you're going down, you start realizing, start sinking in that you have done the Everest. How was it? You start feeling this. Now let me take you all to the top of Everest from Everest Base Camp and feel that. Feel that crevasse, feel that chillness, and feel the top of Everest. That's the top of Everest, gentlemen. Thank you so much. I end my presentation here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.